Europe has been rearming for 3 years now, but there is a difference between spending money and actually transforming your air force. Some countries have done it, some are getting there, and some are still largely living on reputation. This is my ranking of the 10 most powerful air forces in Europe right now. Poland is the clearest example of a country that has understood the threat and is responding to it seriously. F-16 fighters, Fa-50 light combat aircraft, and F-35 jets on order, and defense spending that puts most of Western Europe to shame. The urgency is real. Poland shares a border with Russia and Belarus and has no illusions about what that means. But understanding the threat and having the capability to meet it are two different things. The transformation is underway. It has not arrived. Living on potential, not yet on capability. Norway is a country that transformed quietly and early. 52 F-35 fighters, not a large fleet but an extremely modern one. The F-35 is not just a fighter, it is a flying sensor network that sees further and shares data faster than almost anything else in the sky. Norway did not wait for a crisis to modernize. It committed to the F-35 program early, trained its pilots, and built its infrastructure. Combined with its position on NATO's northern flank, right next to the Barents Sea and the Kola Peninsula, Norway is a small air force that is genuinely ready. The Netherlands is another country that transformed early and quietly. F-35 aircraft, deep NATO integration, and decades of real operational experience. The Balkans, Libya, Iraq, Syria. The Dutch have been flying alongside allies on actual missions for 30 years, and it shows in how they plan, communicate, and operate under pressure. Small fleet, but one of the most professionally capable in Europe. Spain is a strange case. On paper, it is still a serious air force, around 140 combat aircraft. Eurofighters, F-18 fighters, and Harriers operating from the Navy's carrier. Spain has numbers, experience, and a real industrial role in European aerospace. But Spain's problem is not size. It is direction. Spain has no dedicated airborne early warning aircraft. In a high-end air war, it would depend on NATO's wider surveillance network to see the full picture. That is a major limitation. Spain is also choosing a very different path from most of its allies. It has not bought the F-35. Instead, it is waiting for the 6th generation FCAS program that will not arrive until around 2040. That could be the right industrial decision, but militarily, it creates a gap. Spain will spend the next decade on upgraded 4th generation aircraft, while others move deeper into stealth and 5th generation warfare, a serious air force, but one caught between yesterday's fleet and tomorrow's program. Sweden sits above Spain on this list, and I know that will surprise some people. Let me explain why. The Gripen was built around a doctrine most air forces never seriously considered, that your main bases will be destroyed on day one and you need to keep fighting anyway. Road bases, forest strips, 5-person ground crews, 10-minute turnaround. That is not a marketing claim. That is decades of genuine strategic thinking from a country that has always assumed it would face a larger enemy. Sweden also designs and builds its own fighters. That level of industrial independence is rare in Europe, and it matters for long-term sustainability in a way that buying American or European aircraft simply does not. And then there is GlobalEye. In April 2026, NATO chose the Swedish GlobalEye to replace its entire AWACS fleet. Every serious option was evaluated. NATO chose Sweden's system. That is not a minor footnote. There is a but. Sweden donated its existing surveillance aircraft to Ukraine, a significant and generous decision. But the GlobalEye replacements have not arrived yet. So right now, Sweden has no airborne early warning capability, which is a real gap for an air force whose entire doctrine is built around seeing threats early. Sweden is mid-transformation, but the direction, the doctrine, and the technology are all pointing towards something genuinely formidable. Greece is the most underrated air force on this list, and the reason has nothing to do with equipment. Around 220 combat aircraft, upgraded F-16 fighters, Mirage 2000 jets, and Rafale aircraft. But what makes Greece different is not what it flies, it is why it flies. Greece has been in a low-level aerial competition with Turkey for decades. Greek and Turkish aircraft intercept each other in the Aegean regularly. That is not an exercise. That is as close to real combat as you can get without shooting. And that pressure has produced something you genuinely cannot manufacture: pilots who are mentally and operationally ready. No fifth-generation aircraft, no airborne early warning. Those are real weaknesses. But Greece never stopped being ready. That is worth more than most people realize. Germany is the country that most needs to transform and is finally doing it. Europe's largest economy, around 130 Eurofighter jets, F-35 aircraft on order, and decades of deliberate underinvestment that left the Luftwaffe in genuinely poor shape. After Russia invaded Ukraine, Germany announced the Zeitenwende, a historic reversal on defense spending. Money is flowing. The Tornado is retiring. The F-35 is coming. But transformation takes time. Today, Germany is still somewhere between what it was and what it needs to be. The potential is enormous. The current reality is still catching up. Italy is a country that transformed without making much noise about it. Eurofighters, F-35 conventional jets, and F-35 jump jets. That last variant is what makes Italy genuinely interesting. The F-35B operates from carriers, which means Italy has fifth-generation stealth aircraft at sea. That is almost unique in Europe. Add tankers, transport aircraft, a serious aerospace industry through Leonardo, and consistent NATO contributions over decades, and Italy is one of the most complete air forces on this list. Italy did not transform dramatically. It just kept building, steadily, quietly. And the result is a force that is more capable than its reputation suggests. Britain is a country that was once at the top and has been managing a slow decline while trying to stay relevant. The RAF has done things most European air forces have not. Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, Syria. Real operations under real pressure. That experience still matters, and it still shows. Typhoon fighters and F-35 jump jets, carriers, tankers, surveillance aircraft, and deeper integration with the United States than any other European nation. But the RAF is significantly smaller than it was 20 years ago. Budgets were cut, squadrons were disbanded. Sustaining a high-intensity campaign today would require serious Allied support in a way it would not have a generation ago. Still second on this list. But the gap between Britain and where it used to be is real. France is number one. And the reason is simple. France never stopped investing, never outsourced its strategic thinking to Washington, never decided that someone else would handle the hard parts. It designs its own fighters, builds its own weapons, has its own nuclear deterrent, operates its own tankers and surveillance aircraft, and can conduct serious air operations on its own terms without asking for permission. The Charles de Gaulle is the only nuclear-powered carrier in Europe. The Rafale is one of the most capable multi-role aircraft in the world. And France has the political will to actually use both, which counts for more than people admit. No stealth fighter, no fifth generation. In a major war, it would still need allies. But of all the countries on this list, France is the only one that never really needed to transform, because it never really stopped. Do you agree? Let me know in the comments. If you found this valuable, like and subscribe. And for deeper written analysis, find Sentinel West on Substack, link in the description. See you in the next one.